Hi, good afternoon, Ms. Cheska, Montes,
Yes, sir.
Data Protection Officer of UnionBank.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, tell us about Selyado. Kasi parang kanina narinig ko is the second one, ha?
Yes.
So last year, what's the difference from last year to this year?
Okay. Last year it's purely for internal employees only. So we invited at that time it was Attorney Boyet Medina of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines who did the keynote speech for us. So at that time, privacy is just more about compliance. So NPC said you have to comply with this and a lot of regulations, right? But this time we're focusing more on employee engagement and our partners engagement. So how privacy is really enabling business. So that's why we invited our top clients, our affiliates, the Avoid Equity Ventures are here, our partners from affiliates in City Savings Bank, and Fairbanks and PetNet, of course. So they are the partners of UnionBank as well in financial inclusion. So right now, we wanted to focus as well on the accountability factor. So while we have this tons of compliance, regulatory compliance documentations and everything, we're now going back to ethics, to accountability, to who really owns the data and who owns their personal data is really the data subject. So we wanted to highlight that we respect that. So basically that's the main difference between the two from last year. So all about compliance, right now it's more about accountability.
But the audience were still the
We're still
executives.
employees, executives, but right now we're focusing more on employees and then our partners. So in the mornings, it's the executive forum, but it's really live stream nationwide. So we enable our cameras to be open to our branches from Davao, Cebu, and then branches in the provinces here in Luzon and here in Metro Manila. And it's also in Facebook Live. So we have Facebook group in amongst our employees and through our email channel. So we really wanted them to understand how privacy is important, not just for in a legal manner, but also how it enables business. So in this day and age, data is the new currency, is the new oil. So when we transact business, from the beginning, they already engage the data privacy office. So we are actually enabling business there, and then we wanted to highlight that. And we want this event to be more engaging to the employees. That's why we wanted it to be more seamless. So that's why you can see QR codes, you just have to scan it and then it goes to the training session modules already. And we also have different training sessions in the afternoon. So we have different topics like digital identity, artificial intelligence as used in anti-financial crimes. We have automation, privacy, and security in the network. We also have hacking demo. So we invited experts in how you can be hacked and how you can prevent yourselves from being hacked. So they're going to demonstrate how it can be compromised with as simple as losing your laptop or losing your cell phone. So it's really more on awareness for the employees and also for our invited guests.
So is this your way of telling us that Union Bank is compliant with the Data Privacy Act?
It's yes, and it is something more. It actually enables digital transformation. Without privacy and security, we cannot do digital transformation. Because we have to first secure the perimeter first, right? And of course, to respect the privacy of our employees. That's why if you can see our apps, they are options for you, whether you want your cards to be blocked or do you want to be notified when these transactions are is being made. So it's how you can do privacy at the tip of your hands. So that's one. So it's more of the perimeter and then the user experience of that. So it's really important for us, of course, that the customer experience is seamless and it's very efficient and it's safe. Then the customers will feel that the bank protects their privacy and security, and of course their secrecy, bank secrecy, of course.
All of the brands or you had the thought leaders, right?
Yes.
As speakers.
Yes.
All of these brands are involved or connected with providing services for Union Bank.
They are our partners in not just for complying with the PSP and the privacy, but also they enable us to.
So Informatic is your.
Informatic, yes. They provided the master data management and data governance for us. So they help us clean up our database. So of course the data privacy access, that your data should be clean, accurate, and then should be available at all times. So these are our interpretation of how it should be using digital transformation in enabling privacy and security. For the Bufayan, they are provider for managed security operations. So they are helping us with their global perspective, of course, of knowledge, pool of threat intel and analysis of the threats all over the world. They can effectively help us with combat what is happening. So if there's a threat outside, they can easily analyze the attack vectors, how they are being used in other countries, and then how it can also affect us here. So that's really the partnership, what the partnership is all about. And the reason why we also intentionally invite global thought leaders is for us to, for the people, especially the employees, to understand how important privacy is and security is. Because if it's being applied in a global level, should be very important, right? So it's more of an affirmation that what we're doing is right, and it's globally accepted.
So compared to other banks, what do you think is your edge? What can you say is your edge?
Well, we've won a lot of awards in terms of digital transformation. So even the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas acknowledged us. That's why they gave us awards. And we also got awards from the National Association of Data Privacy Officers of the Philippines. We're the only bank there that won those awards, and I think that is our advantage over other banks. And why we all protect the secrecy of the depositors, it's mandated under Bank Secrecy Act and several other banking laws. It's important that the depositors and the clients will know that in this day and age, banking is now open. Like you can transact anytime, 24/7. You can shop online using your bank account, credit cards, and all. That's banking. This a banking service is 24/7. Unlike the traditional banking, those banking days that you can only transact from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Right now it's 24/7. So bank, as our chairman Gusto already says to us, banking will be invisible in the future. So we need to catch up. So in that sense, when the banking features or services are invisible, the privacy landscape is also expanding because it's going to be on a retail basis right now. So you can use the banking app in your phone, in your laptop, and in any other mobile devices. So it's really, we're now in a tipping point where you decide whether you go through digital transformation and enabled by privacy and security, or no, just do the traditional banking, which is also safe and protecting the secrecy of the depositors. But in this day and age, everyone has their phones. You can't leave your house without your phone with you, right? So, and you can even get food out of your phone and get a vehicle.
Yeah, everyone is connected online.
So it gets you from one place to another. And it's also a weapon, okay? So it can make or break things. What we wanted to highlight as well, if you see the history of privacy and security downstairs, is that we wanted people to understand how privacy and security evolved through time. And for me, you will have a better understanding of why we are this paranoid, about privacy and security. It's because decades ago, people died because their privacy was breached. It was during the Holocaust. And so the Jews were segmented, their data was taken out of the database, and then they were segmented and they were killed. And it's right now, people should always be reminded of that privacy breach. And even these days, so when your privacy is breached, you can, it's deadly. You can be killed. You can kill yourself because. Sorry.
Why are you being emotional? Is there a personal reason for?
Sorry. No, it's very private.
Okay.
What I mean is, people can die because their privacy is breached. And sorry.
Okay.
Get off the record. And it's something that has become an advocacy for me. Sorry. That's why I really wanted this event to be
Successful.
This is not just for me, but it's for people, or for someone who died because their privacy was breached, and then they were cyberbullied and they killed themselves. So there. So this is that.
Another question. I think one of the biggest threat is because I used to be a systems admin for another bank before, and back then our biggest threat was inside. Of course, that the IT have access to the technology, the system, the network. So one of the biggest threat would be internal or inside threat. Previous IT, or there could be social engineering. So what are you doing about it for UnionBank?
For one, employee awareness is key. So what we do is we really engage them per unit. And so we cannot live in a vacuum. So we really need to understand where our clients are going, what are their preferences. So it's really important that we also know what they want, right? But it's always within the parameters of Data Privacy Act. So we always ensure that in the terms and conditions, in the privacy policy, and even in every step of the way of processing, they know where their data is going. So for instance, their data will be shared with a certain partner bank or a partner. So we always ensure that there's a different tick box, you know what I mean, for them to process it. And for us to be, to have a legitimate purpose of that. So that's one set. And there's this, recently, in the European Union, the GDPR covered countries have ruled that you cannot have an opt-in for all processing. So it has to be per processing which is outside the core processing or the core business that you have. So for in the context of the bank, you consent to the processing of your information pursuant to banking transaction, but does not mean that we have to share it or disclose that information, that transaction, with another entity that can monetize it. So you have to explicitly consent or say yes, I agree before that happens. So that's a it gets tricky when there's a regulation involved. So for example, as a covered institution of the CIC, Credit Information Corporation, we are mandated to provide credit information to the CIC. So even without the consent, but there's legal purpose for that. I mean, there's a legal basis for the processing, which is a law. So we also have to respect that. That's why in the TNCs, we always ensure that people know that their data will go to CIC. Yeah. So among others, like even the Anti-Money Laundering Act, certain processing like BIR for tax purposes, right? So even the Bank Secrecy Act has exceptions to it, and in the same manner as the Data Privacy Act. But doesn't mean that we can do everything we want because it's mandated by law. So we take in the bank as a DPO, and it is also communicated also to all of our DPOs by the NPC. And we need to take extra mile to notify the clients and the data subjects. For your information as well, the data protection officers of all the banks in the Philippines, well, those that are under the Bankers Association of the Philippines, we organize ourselves. So we call ourselves the Data Protection Officers Group. So under BAP. So they assigned me as the chair of that, and it's for me. It's I'm looking at it as the servant leader. I mean, so you guys, what you want to do, and then we can do it, projectize it, and then it's also there's also something that we can replicate as well in the banking industry level. So this is for me. This is like a guinea pig as well. This is my first time to organize this. There's a lot of learnings to do, but people will get the message. It's really important, and then in the banking sector as well. That's why we also invited the Privacy Commission and BSP in one. So we convened them in one. So it's so funny because even BSP Governor Jong said that cybersecurity is important, and then that's why he also his office is very open to these kinds of events. It's very grateful for we're all very grateful for having regulators who are open to suggestions, and then to how digital transformation can enable regulation. So right now we have this RegTech, so regulation technology. So it's more of using digital transformation technology and enable platforms to comply with the law. So that's why in the bank we're doing artificial intelligence robotics to, you know, to automate certain processes so we can easily comply with the law. Because like in complying with the law, there are certain requirements like time is of the essence. Like we need to notify within a certain number of hours. So that's why we're automating certain processes.
So one last question. What do you think would be the biggest challenge for Union Bank or banks as in general with regards to data privacy, cyber threats?
Um, Here is for us, it's really the continuous self-regulating and enhancement of awareness.
Okay.
And it's because attack vectors change from time to time.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So it's really a matter of keeping yourselves apprised with what's happening around you, so you know what to do. And for instance, there's a breach somewhere, you're also affected. So for me as a DPO, it's important to be friends with other DPOs as well and to extend the hand. Because it's not really a question of if, but it's a question of when. And you just have to be resilient about it. That's why part of the tagline of the event is resiliency, because cyber threats, they're always there, they come and go, but you know, you really have to put additional layer of security for privacy and information cyber for for you to be resilient.
Ms. Cheska, to close, could you please talk to our audience and assure them that Union Bank is well protected, the system is well established, so that you can encourage more of our people to patronize banks?
Yeah. So, my name is Cheska Montes. I am the Data Protection Officer of Union Bank. And as a DPO of Union Bank, I encourage you to use our app. Digital transformation, and it's really enabling privacy because it minimizes manual processes that actually enhances potential reach. So use the app and then open a bank account, because you're not just protecting your bank secrecy but also your data privacy, because banking is 24/7. It's not just limited to 9 to 3 p.m. It's actually becoming invisible. You can transact anywhere, anytime, whenever you want. You can deposit from one to another and then withdraw. And then it's really a seamless world right now. And you always have to check also our privacy policy, so you know how we are protecting your data with us. And rest assured that your personal data with us is secure, and we have invested a lot of cybersecurity measures and tools for privacy compliance, so we can address your concerns and for the breaches to be minimized. And you may call us anytime, me personally. If you have concerns of your personal data with Union Bank, you can call us. Our numbers are available in our website.
Okay. To end this interview, we have an iconic shout out. On the count of three, you have to shout, "What's up, Filipinas?"
Okay.
And at the end, you give a call to action, whatever you want to say. Last message. Okay? Count of 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
What's up, Filipinas? Protect your privacy.
Thank you.